Hello students, welcome to Philobytes. This video is going to give you an idea about the philosophy of Rene Descartes. You're going to know about his core concepts, and we are also going to get a summary of the 6 meditations which we find in his book Meditations on First Philosophy. In the link given in the description box, you will also get answers to important questions which you can download for your reference. So let's begin. The 3 celebrated rationalist philosophers are Rene Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. So, what is rationalism? It is an epistemological view which regards reason as the chief source and test of knowledge, instead of considering other sources of knowledge such as faith, tradition, or sensory experience. Descartes was a philosopher, scientist, mathematician, and a seminal figure in the emergence of modern philosophy and science. His philosophy had precedence in late Aristotelianism, the revived Stoicism of the 16th century. In his natural philosophy, he differed from the schools on 2 major points. First, he rejected the splitting of corporeal substance into matter and form. And secondly, he rejected any appeal to final ends, divine or natural, in explaining natural phenomena. In his theology, he insists on the absolute freedom of God's act of creation. Refusing to accept the authority of previous philosophers, Descartes frequently set his views apart from the philosophers who preceded him. Descartes is known as the father of modern philosophy. He laid the foundation for 17th century continental rationalism, which was later advocated by Spinoza and Leibniz. He was later opposed by the empiricist school of thought, which consisted of Hobbes, Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. The rise of modern rationalism led to the birth of 2 rationalistic philosophical systems: Cartesianism, which is Descartes, and Spinozism, which is Spinoza's. In the 17th century, arch-rationalists like Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz, it is because of them that the time period got the name Age of Reason. Leibniz, Spinoza, and Descartes were all well versed in mathematics as well as philosophy, and Descartes and Leibniz contributed to science as well. Descartes' Meditation on First Philosophy, which he wrote in 1641, continues to be a standard text in most university philosophy departments. And this book is made up of 6 meditations in which Descartes first discards all belief in things that are not absolutely certain, and then tries to establish what can be known for sure. He wrote the meditations as if he had meditated for 6 days, and each meditation refers to the last one as yesterday. The meditator is the narrative voice of Meditations on First Philosophy. The meditator is left gender neutral. The opinions expressed in meditations are no doubt Descartes' opinion, and it is significant that he writes in meditational form with distinct and carefully chosen voice to lead the reader through the 6 meditations. We find Aristotelian elements in the meditation. Aristotle is the progenitor of many of the long-established ideas which had served as the cornerstone of Western thought for 2 millennia. And these are the ideas that Descartes' meditations questions and to a certain degree refute. Among other things, Descartes breaks down the Aristotelian notion that all knowledge comes through the senses and that the mental states must in some way resemble what they're about. We also find reference to the scholastics in the Meditations. The scholastics were thinkers who practiced the dominant school of philosophy in the medieval Western Europe up until 1500. While Descartes' meditations, in many crucial ways, seek to replace the thinking of the scholastics with modern approaches, his proofs for the existence of God, as well as some other ideas, reveal his reliance on some scholastic models. He is traditionally considered the father of modern philosophy because of rejecting the worldview of Aristotelian scholasticism and developing in its place a new science based on mechanistic principles. He developed a new metaphysics based on an original form of mind-body or mind and matter dualism. His epistemology is known as the system of methodological doubt, which is a systematic rejection of any belief that could conceivably be false, and he is also famous for his theory of innate ideas. He is also best known as the author of the famous phrase Cogito ergo sum, which is the foundation of absolute certainty on which to re-establish human knowledge of the self, God, and external world. Now here is a topic-wise content of the meditations. In the first meditation, he introduces skeptical doubts. Second meditation comprises of cogito ergo sum, some res cogitans, and also the wax argument. In the third meditation, he talks about clear and distinct perceptions, his theory of ideas, and the existence of God. In the fourth meditation, he proves that God is not a deceiver, and he also talks about will, intellect, and the possibility of error. In the fifth meditation, he talks about the essence of material things, and in the last, that is sixth meditation, he talks about the Cartesian body and the mind-body dualism. The first meditation, skeptical doubts. Here, Descartes explores skeptical doubts and questions the reliability of knowledge, which is based on senses and past beliefs. He argues for the need to rebuild knowledge on more certain grounds. Key points include doubting all beliefs, contemplating the unreliability of senses, and the possibility of being deceived by dreams or an evil demon. Descartes concludes that while composite things can be doubted, the simple and universal parts from which they are constructed cannot be doubted. The second meditation focuses on the existence of a thinking entity. He introduces the famous phrase cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am, to establish the reality of his own existence. He reflects on the distinction between the mind and the body, emphasizing the primacy of the mind's ability to think. Descartes also presents the wax argument to demonstrate the limitations of the senses in understanding the nature of objects. In the third meditation, Descartes delves into clear and distinct perception and his theory of ideas. He contemplates the nature of God as a source of ideas and distinguishes between innate, adventitious, and invented ideas. Descartes questions the reliability of adventitious ideas and suggests they may not necessarily resemble the objects that they represent. Key points include the role of God as a guarantor of clear and distinct perceptions and the importance of suspending judgment in cases of uncertainty. The fourth meditation talks about God, that He is not a deceiver. It explores the notion of truth and falsity. He reflects on the limitations of even simple beliefs and considers the possibility of a deceiving God or an evil demon. He resolves to doubt everything and pretend that his habitual opinions are false to counterbalance his usual way of thinking. The importance of doubting to avoid being misled is emphasized in this meditation. In the fifth meditation, Descartes turns his attention towards material objects. He investigates his ideas regarding the material things and concludes that he can distinctly imagine extension, shape, size, position, and local motion. He presents arguments for the existence of material things based on the faculty of imagination and the senses. This meditation reaffirms his belief in the existence of external physical reality. The sixth meditation examines the existence of material things. It discusses the distinction between mind and the body. Descartes acknowledges the possibility of material objects due to their relevance in pure mathematics. He reasons that the intermingling of mind and body forms a single unit and investigates the primary and secondary qualities of matter. This meditation reinforces the argument for the existence of material things and explores the relationship between mind and body. So now that you have an eagle's eye view of the form and content of the meditations, let us understand some core ideas in the Cartesian philosophy. The first one is the unreliability of sense perception. He argues that sense perception is not a reliable source of knowledge because it can be deceived. He presents various arguments such as the dream argument and the deceiving God and the evil demon arguments to demonstrate that our senses can be unreliable. Reason as the essence of humanity is extremely important in Descartes. Descartes famously states, "I think, therefore I exist," asserting that the ability to think and reason is what defines human existence. He argues that reason is the essence of humanity and that a human would still be human without physical attributes like hands or hair. Thirdly, the wax argument. Let me elaborate a bit on this. It is an argument used by Descartes by which he tries to infer that mind is better known than the body. He suggests that everything we know about bodies is through intellectual perception rather than through the senses. And therefore he asserts that mind is known more distinctly than the body. In this thought experiment, we take a piece of wax. It has been taken freshly from the hive and it has not yet lost the sweetness of the honey which it contains. It still retains somewhat the odor of the flowers from which it has been culled. Its color, figure, size are apparent. It is hard, cold, easily handled, and if we strike it with a finger, it will emit a sound. That is all the things that are required, that is the sensations which the five sense organs give us, so that we distinctly recognize the object as a piece of wax are present in it. But now put the piece of wax in front of fire and it starts melting. What happens then? What remains of taste is exhaled The smell evaporates, the color alters, the figure is destroyed, and the size increases. That is, it becomes fluid. It still remains after this change, but not what was initially given to us by the senses. Now, what remains is a certain extended thing which is flexible and movable. These are the properties which are the permanent properties which remained. Okay, the primary properties, and these were not directly perceived through the senses or imagination. Instead, to grasp the essence of the wax is something which remains even when the color, touch, smell, all these things have gone. Even then, what remains is the essence of the wax. This is grasped with the help of pure reason, and it can never be grasped by the senses or imagination. This is Descartes' point, by which he wants to say that senses and imagination are not to be dependent upon. What gives us knowledge of essences of objects is pure reason and not senses. Conception of good and existence. Descartes follows the ancient Greek concept where what is real, true, and good are closely linked. He believes that goodness is a matter of participating in what is real, and evil is linked with unreality. So these core ideas highlight Descartes' significant contribution to modern philosophy, including the skepticism towards sense perception, the emphasis on reason as the defining characteristic of humanity, the mind-body distinction, and his conception of good and existence. These ideas have sparked ongoing debates and further developments in philosophy. So that was a very precise overview of Descartes' meditations and his philosophy. I hope you find it helpful. From the link given in the description box, you can get short answers to very important topics like his method of doubt, Descartes' argument for the existence of external physical objects, his proofs about the existence of God, his mind-body dualism, his idea of cogito ergo sum, Descartes' idea of substance, and also whether Descartes' skepticism can lead us to solipsism or not. In the next video on our series on rationalist philosophers, we will get to know Baruch Spinoza. I hope you join me then. Goodbye. Take care.